And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Level Up Live. Come on in. Just going to give a few minutes for others to join. Good evening again. I am Dr. Sharita Gaskins-Tillett. I am your host of Level Up Live, where we feature extraordinary physician women. And we have a real treat for you this evening. So just come on in. If you are watching us live, say hi in the comments. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. If you have questions for our guests, certainly put those in the chat. If you're watching the replay, put them in the chat anyway. We'll get the questions to her and try to get them answered. Okay, so I am very pleased to introduce our guest this evening. Our guest is Dr. Simarta Brennan-Prescod. She is a primary care doctor at Optum Primary Care's Northeast office in St. Petersburg, Florida. Her background is in internal medicine, nephrology, and hypertensive care. She is a graduate of St. George's University School of Medicine in Grenada, West Indies, and completed her residency at Overlook Hospital, an affiliate of Mount Sinai Hospital in Summit, New Jersey. She completed nephrology fellowship training at St. Louis University School of Medicine in Missouri. Her personal passion is the education of patients in the balancing of mental and physical health with a focus on improving quality of life. She emphasizes the importance of shared decision making with her patients towards their healthcare choices. In addition, another concentration has been inspiring and coaching doctors in healthcare to be intentional about leveling up their work experience to be more personally rewarding. Through her own experience of 16 years in practice, she has learned the secret sauce to improving her work life experience to gain better fulfillment for her day to day experience. While no job is permanent, you probably do not have to change jobs to find more joy in your work. You can shift your attitude, choose simple steps to get unstuck, beat back boredom, and create deeper meaning in each day. And once again, be enthusiastic about your career. In her spare time, she enjoys arts and crafts with her three kids, ages 8, 6, and 6. It looks like twins. Traveling, reading, scuba diving, and writing. She has written a new book titled The Parts We Don't Talk About, a memoir of her experience in the healthcare system from the perspective of a doctor, patient, and caregiver. She volunteers locally in the public school system to promote and educate elementary school kids in regards to pursuing a career in medicine. Good evening. Welcome, Dr. Simarta.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great for you to be here. So tell us, and I read your bio. So you have twins?
I
You have 6-year-old
do.
twins? Oh my gosh, you got your hands full.
I'm used to being the mom with three kids under three in diapers. So, yes,
Wow.
triaging has been a way of life.
My hat's off to you. God bless you. We'll start with that. So why don't we? I usually like to start with you just kind of telling us about your journey through medicine. So and see you went to medical school in the Caribbean. I hear your accent from one of
Yes,
my favorite places on earth.
that is
So
true.
talk to us. Tell us what's going on.
So, I have been blessed to be born in Jamaica. I moved to United States for my education and college. Um, I've wanted to be a physician since I was 5 years old. So for me, I consider it a blessing. Not everybody has that opportunity to have a vision of where they see themselves. Obviously, through the years, it's changed, but more always keeping the core focus of wanting to help people in
Yes.
any capacity. Um, that being said, I did return to the Caribbean and do a master's in public health. I've also taught it in a school level, in a larger level public health, and I completed my medical degree. But I always tell people I had no other future but internal medicine. I talk too much. um, and it's just been a blessing to use the skills I think innate, to be able to combine that with my passion of educating.
Wonderful.
So Yes. So I did internal medicine. I've been a hospitalist, and I've also um, did nephrology as well. Um, Trying to reinvent myself, as I think all women should. I have just learned to dabble in different things, and I feel there's a huge growth that has happened through the years to be able to do that. Um, I was talking to you earlier about it's just incredible to think of me as a communicator online, because I always thought of myself as more of a fly on the wall kind of lady.
But here's the thing, we communicate all day long as physicians, right? I
Yes.
mean, you're lecturing people, maybe, individually, maybe not in front of a large crowd, but we're talking to people all the time. So you're definitely a communicator, as are we all. You're getting some love in the comments. People are saying hello. Dr. Tamara Beckford, in particular, seems to be giving
Hey.
you a Jamaica shout out. So,
Love it.
so you came to my attention because I saw a Facebook post that you made in one
Yeah.
of the groups where you talked about changing the culture of
Mhm.
your office. And I was so impressed by what I read that I had to make you my Facebook friend, and now you're here. So tell us about that, what led to that experience? What were you experiencing in the office? What caused you to make that shift?
Well, I consider a necessity. It was a necessity. I started somewhere new, um, and I realized I was walking into a new environment, a new set of staff. What did I want out of this? What did I want to be able to be around? And literally, it was one of those pinnacle moments when I'm sitting in my car and I'm going, you can't, and you know this, you can't execute something without a vision plan. You can't have an idea of where you're going if you don't put it down. So I
Sure.
literally started on a journey to enhance the relationships in my office, to be more intentional about people, persons, and communication. We do it every day with our patients, but we never really think about it in regards to our staff.
Okay.
I feel I went from a setting of um, private practice to a setting of um, an environment that was more an employee based.
Okay.
But I think a lot of us do it and feel we have no control over our environment. And that's why I really started honing in on what can we change? What can we evolve? We're there for several hours a day. Why
Yes.
shouldn't we be happy?
Several hours. I don't know where you work. I mean, most people spend more time with their coworkers in during
And
waking
that is
hours
a
than they do with
fact.
their families.
That is correct. So why shouldn't it be somewhere you're comfortable? And I think a lot of times we need to be intentional about our settings. So
Yes.
I started the journey literally. The first thing I did was put up a poster. I'm that girl who writes it down and puts it out there. And so people know what my vision of a team was. Then,
So let me ask you this: were you in charge of the team, or were you a member of the team and just decided that the culture needed to shift?
so I joined the team as a lead physician, but now I realize you need to learn to lead through being able to manage in that manner. So a huge part of it is you have to get to know your environment. You have to share your vision. And that's how I felt. I felt I can't control your paycheck. I can't control your
Yeah.
hours. That's a reality sometimes when we work in environments that were employee based. And but can I control the relationships I have, the connections, how people feel about their workspace and how they feel about each other? Remember, a huge part of it is we all kind of got into it, whether you're the front desk, the manager, the case manager. A lot of us had a vision, and we need to share that vision and make sure we're all on the same. So, as a
Right.
physician in my office with a staff of 11, um, I really wanted to capture how I wanted the day to go and see how we could all connect together. And literally, I think if anything, it enhanced my leadership, because now people are literally feel incited. They're fire at work. Um, and it's through intentional micro goals I set.
Okay.
And that's what I was trying to share when I shared previously. And I meet with women all the time just to say, hey, if you want a couple tips and tricks, whatever I've learned through wins and losses, I'm willing to share.
Sure. So now, when you arrived, tell us what the culture was like, and then tell us some of the specific things that you used to shift the environment.
Well, the truth is, I think a lot of us feel that attitude of we get to work at a time and we leave at a time.
Yeah.
We're just there to kind of clock in and clock out. So I felt that burnout energy from that not feeling a daily purpose. We've all been there. We've already been with the person who does just enough.
Sure.
you know, um, a lot of times we have to realize that if you capture what people's roles are and you kind of let them understand how they play a role in the bigger picture of the puzzle, I find people will rally behind you.
Mm,
And I feel when I first started, a lot of people were disconnected. A lot of people felt, unappreciated,
sure.
not seeing the bigger vision of where they were in healthcare. A lot of that came to heads just during the pandemic. A lot of people had to deal with home concerns, and they're walking in the office with that, you
Yes.
know,
Absolutely.
and that emotion is walking in with you as much as we want to not. So what I realized is we had to create an environment that was not just professional, but somewhere you want to be,
Yeah.
somewhere where you create a balance. So, to answer your question, and one of the things I really want to part today is it doesn't have to be that hard. That's what I realized. Micro goals mean, okay, one of the things we did was I spoke to everyone. I made sure each day I had a quick 2-minute conversation. We start with a huddle in the morning. We get the angst of, okay, we're here. What is our purpose? How do we all connect? um, and we keep a time limit and a structure to it, so that people don't feel like they're offloading or stepping on people's toes. So enhancing communication on a one-to-one and on a group level.
And I'm sure that helps people feel seen, because a
Yeah.
lot of times if you're a staff member, you feel like you're maybe like a cog in the wheel. The
Mhm.
doctor's the important person, the patient's important, but I'm just here.
Right.
And I think it helps to validate their presence. If you're talking to
Absolutely.
them and acknowledging them and, learning things about them on an ongoing basis.
And that's really where I took it as a personal goal. um, then once you've learned it, act on those things you've learned. So one of the things I learned is I had a lot of artsies in my office. So I was like, who else do I know that's artsy? My kids. So I started introducing things that my kids did at school into the office.
Like what? Tell us.
So we call them Fun Fridays.
Okay.
So what I realized is you can do so much to connect people if you do it in a manner where it's an event. Some of the things we did was arts and craft. We would do it seasonally. So we have Valentine's, we have stocking building for Christmas holiday. We did Thanksgiving coloring. you know, we're still all kids at heart. We
Yes.
still all like glitter. We still all like crayons. We still like,
We
you
all like
know,
fun, right?
yes.
Absolutely.
So it turns out it doesn't take all day. What we would do is dedicate maybe 15 minutes on a Friday, bring the supplies from home, buy a few from the dollar store. I don't think there's a week that didn't pass the dollar store didn't see me. um, Engage your leadership in your office. My office manager was on board. She saw the vision as well. And then you start asking people, hey, what would you like to see in the office?
Mm,
Last week we had a hot chocolate building. Who could make the biggest hot chocolate? Yeah, you're going to waste two,
yeah.
containers of
Right.
whipped
Whipped
cream. But
cream. Yeah.
hey, the point is the activity. Um, we've done where we've done like beer pong without the beer. That's just cups,
Yeah.
you know. Pictionary. We'll do hangman games. We'll break out into teams. You're not doing it every day, but the connections you create through having staff, having another outlet
Right.
is phenomenal. It's worth every crayon. It's worth every,
Right. Right.
that you stock and do.
And I'm sure
So
creating those connections, makes the team work more efficiently and function more as a team rather than having individual silos. If I know you and I know your circumstance and I have a feeling for you, I'm more likely to step in when I see you struggling, you know.
exactly. And that's what started happening. People started rising to the reality that we're all human.
Yes.
Even if you're peering physician and front desk, people are sharing their home stories. People are feeling a safe place,
Yes.
and then for your performance will flourish. I found in the beginning a lot of physicians don't communicate the bigger picture to all the staff. I make it my real dedication to be consistent saying we all matter. I always make the loud comment in my office: if nobody answers the phone, it don't matter how good that doctor is.
Right.
The
Right.
front desk
Absolutely.
is
Yep.
important. Letting people know, in my office, we take care of people from 19 to 101.
Wow.
So we have a huge range that have different needs. And sometimes that front desk person might be the only person they talk to for the entire day.
Yeah.
You matter if that's the
Yes.
case. So really letting people know, hey, those records you got me? Well, guess what? I use those records and now the patient's on the right medication. They're better with their family because now we know the bigger picture of their lives. Um, I get it down to that micro level. One of the other things I always introduce is accountability to yourself as well. Um, my staff always laughs. Every interaction in my office starts with, how can I help? If
Okay.
you ask me anything,
Sure.
I say, hello, how can I help? And it really builds an environment where people go, okay, I want to help too. It,
Yeah.
it, it
Yeah.
it
So
becomes
when you say the big picture, do you actually have a mission statement or mission that you
absolutely.
share and so that everyone is able to then buy into the mission?
Absolutely. We are here as a team to help each other to create our patients, our goal, and we can do this in a warm environment because we all matter. And while we may not be able to achieve everything to perfection, we should try with our best. I say it all the time. I have individual conversations that we all are making a difference. And I think the organization supports that as well. That doesn't mean I can hand anybody $100,000,
Sure. Right.
but I can at least walk around with bubble wands on a Thursday afternoon.
So what things have you seen change since these things have been implemented? Do you feel like employees are staying, you're retaining employees longer?
Absolutely. So, from a value system, people are more. I always say I'm very blessed. I have staff that's been there quite a long time, um, and they've stuck with me, and they help balance each other out. We have people who are strong at some things, and maybe they just need somebody else to help them. We found increase in cross coverage. um, we created champions for each aspect of trying to dedicate to patient prevention. So no longer is it make sure the patient had their mammogram. It's more, hey, you see how many early breast cancer we diagnosed last year?
Uh-huh.
And
And
I
so
say
then
to
they can
them,
see the value that they're
yes. And
bringing
I say to
to
them,
patients' lives. Yeah.
that's you. You
Yeah.
did that because you took the time to ask somebody, when was their last mammogram?
Yeah.
So it seemed, and they're like, wow, really? And I'm like, that's all it took.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's very encouraging for them.
Yeah. And just trying to be open and honest about how they play a role, and balancing that out. So,
So now, do you have a specific framework? Because I believe you do. So why don't you tell us a little about your framework?
all right. So first of all, everybody's not going to have an artsy um, group.
Right.
You have to learn the people you're around. You have to first understand your vision, and I say write it down. What do you want to work in, step by step? If you went to work and you enjoyed your patients, enjoy being in that four walls, you love delivering babies, you love taking care of pediatric kids, um, then what's halting you from going home with the mindset of, oh, that was a good day?
Hmm.
Because some of it is mindset as well. We have to buy into our own purpose.
Right.
No, I can't control the patient who showed up late and I got 6 notes to write.
Right.
But do I understand by seeing that one person, even though they showed up late, now I've helped them feel better. We've set them to a point of better health.
Yes.
So I say that the first step is to look within ourselves and our attitude. The second is choose steps to get unstuck. Understand what you really want. And I think half of that is the issue. As physicians, we are taught to be gladiators,
Hmm.
and we always seem to seek perfection.
Yes.
And anything short of that, we just define as failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not true. We have to reevaluate. Okay, my attitude is this is what I came here for. It may not have worked the way I expected it, but how can I view it for what it is? How can I improve my mindset towards my goals? Then, if it's something you really feel, okay, well, this is really bringing me down, writing all these notes at night, then don't do it. Fix your day so that you can improve. And you can do that by reaching out to other people under your own circumstances and see how they've handled it. A
Yes.
huge part of it is we sit in our misery.
Yes. In isolation. Yes.
Yes. We assume this is the only way it can be, and it's not.
Right.
Other people have done it before you, other people will do it after you. But how can you shift it so that it also works for you and the work environment? So one of the things I tell people is you have to know when you're hungry.
Right. Get a Snickers right now. Just kidding.
You know what I mean? I'm one of those people, seeing me at 11:40 is different from seeing me at 1 o'clock. So if I need a snack, I
Right.
need to make sure I have a scheduled snack.
Yes.
So it's about identifying your attitude and then making changes to kind of make sure you're true to that. What matters to you? I have some doctors who I talk to and they're like, listen, I just like to hit it out. I want a patient every 20 minutes until 2 o'clock, and I don't want to see anybody after 2. Well, then you need to create a schedule that works for your optimization. That's the steps. And talk to your leadership about how to meet that need. Another thing I always tell people is beat that boredom. You want to engage yourself. So, yes, there's going to be stuff that's mundane, but how can you challenge yourself? One of the things I do to challenge myself is this. I try to not only educate on medicine, but just try to reach out to people and connect in how we can help fix things. One of my passions is educating at the elementary school level. How can I inspire somebody else? And that brought me thrill. Maybe
Yes.
something else might bring you thrill. But if it does, be intentional about adding it somehow, because a happy you is going to be a more productive you. It's not absolutes.
Right. Right.
Commit to tiny actions. One of the things I did is I prepared to pivot and I recorded the transition. So the
Okay.
day I decided to create change and knew I was going to do certain events, take pictures, document, make sure that you can see visuals of what's happening. Um, every year, I do a year in video review of our events for the year that we do in the office. And it's a hoot. It
I'm
takes
sure
me a
they
few minutes
appreciate it. Yeah.
on my phone. And it's crazy because you see the mask, but everybody says it. You can see them smiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by documenting, you're creating balancing by visual aid as well. So you're trying to do your leadership through audio reassurance, but also you want to do it through visual reassurance that, hey, it wasn't all that bad, was it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a reminder of the good times when the bad times come.
Absolutely. Because we know that's life.
Right. Sure. Sure. What I love about this is how you owned your power, because a lot of times I've been an employed physician, and a lot of times as employed physicians, we feel like, we feel powerless,
Yeah.
that, this is whatever the environment is that the higher ups have created. I'm, I am here. I'm a cog in the wheel, and this is the way it is. And so I really admire that you kind of took the bull by the horns and said, okay, I'm here, but how do I want things to be? And what can I do to change it? And I think that's so important that we understand as physicians, as women, that we have the power to change our environments. We can be the
Catalyst.
yeah, we can be the catalyst, but we can be the thermostat rather than the thermometer. We can set the tone and the temperature.
Good example. Yeah, absolutely. So a huge take home that most people like to hear is, okay, how do you come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
um, believe it or not, think like a child and think of your inner joy, and then you can ask the staff. It does not have to look perfect. I literally take things from my kids' elementary school. I literally would say, oh, that looks cool. Let me get duct tape and we're going to duct tape somebody with paper and make them a mummy. And we'll get 2 staff members to do it, and then we'll compete to see who can do it quicker.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the duct tape's worth it. The toilet tissue's worth it. The point being is the things never take more than 15 minutes that I'm talking about. Don't try to make it to something it's not. The idea is connection. If you're not somebody who wants to lay out something, get help. By no means do I say I came up with all the ideas, but I say to my office manager, okay, do you want to bring the things? How can we make this come to life?
Yeah.
And then it will be, okay, let's get some plastic cups. Let's get some ping pong balls and long table. Boom, you got a game.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like I said, I love it. I love, that you're getting so much more engagement. And what I love even more is that you're not keeping this goodness to yourself. So you do some coaching as well. Is that right?
That is true. What I try to do is, most people have on a lower level. Maybe there's a challenging person you're trying to interact with. Maybe you're trying to determine, does all these people have their vision? So sometimes I do one-on-one conversations with people. I am very open book personality because I feel to be where I was at, it was other people's shoulders. Other people
Right.
had to grace me with knowledge. So I try to share that knowledge as much as I can. I've had discussions with people about how to negotiate their finances in an employed environment. The point being is, how do you want to be intentional? What's your concern? And it really is trying to create micro goals. And that's why I love groups like this. Leveling up really just means, how do we use our community
Yeah.
to raise our own bar
Yeah.
and our own fulfillment.
Absolutely. Leverage the power of the community.
Yes.
I like it. I like it a lot. So we're getting a little bit short on time. Now, do you have a formal coaching program where people can reach out to you? And if so, tell us how to find you.
Okay. So presently, I do not have a platform. I tell people to reach out to me through Facebook, email, phone. A lot of people I'll do groups with. I do engage with other coaches for speeches. Um, I always felt I wanted to do this on a one-to-one level and then move it forward.
Sure.
In addition, I do some real estate, and I do a little bit of writing. So one of the things I'm trying to do this year is actually launch my book, um, which I've completed recently.
Tell us,
So
actually, I forgot. I read about that in the bio. Tell us a little about the book.
so it's somewhat of a memoir. That would be another 30 minutes, but it really just tries to look at my experience in the healthcare system from a triage standpoint. Yes, I'm a physician. I've been a patient in the healthcare system, and also I've had to take care of one of my sons with congenital heart disease and be a mother in the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Um, so I've learned so much tips and tricks to be productive and have good sit downs with your doctors. So I really just put pen to paper in my experience and how I can uplift others through that.
Well, thank you for being such an inspiration. I usually have one final question for all of my guests, and I'm trying to think of which angle to take for you. But I think what I'll say is, if there's one thing that you want to say to a physician leader who is looking to uplevel the culture in their office, what is the one action you would tell them to take today?
Communicate. You have to deal with your purpose, your people, and your performance. All three you have to engage. The people around you, what you want, and also how can you perform at your optimal.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I love it so much because, once you get the buy-in of the staff and they understand how they factor into the bigger picture, I think it helps them to take ownership of what they're doing and helps them to feel valued. And like I said, makes them, a stronger contributor and a stronger part of the team. So I applaud you for seeing the need and meeting the need.
Thank you.
So that concludes tonight's Level Up Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Before I go, I would be remiss if I did not remind you that registration is still open for A Weekend for Me, which is our spring wellness and self-care retreat. It's being held March 24th through 26th in Cambridge, Maryland. Registration is still open, www.aweekendforme.com. So register today. And thank you so much, Dr. Simarta, and we will see you all next week. Take care.